economic crisis has not gone away and things are getting worse in our country. And there is less employment. The overall structure of the country becomes more repressive. And you can see that in many parts of Asia, specifically in some parts of Southeast Asia. We have seen new examples of acute repression coming up. I can speak for Pakistan, which is part of South Asia. The new government was elected last year in May, and it has already ensured that they're going to pass an NGO bill based on which every NGO has to register from the lowest administrative unit to the highest. So it means that if we work in a certain province, we have to register ourselves in the district in which we are working, and from the district to the provincial level, and from the provincial to the federal level. So you can just imagine the amount of paperwork that entails. The general context of the NGO bills up to now across the Asian region has been to ensure that those organizations who are into public policy or who are into rights-based work are severely curtailed. The government ensures that they are not allowed easy space to work in, and it also opens up new venues for corruption, because many of the departments will then ask for money. We get visits from various agencies, specialized agencies. We also get visits from local police quarters, just asking us very strange questions. Do you have visitors? Do you have foreign visitors? What do you do? Where do you work? And they will shadow us. If we have a workshop going on, or a seminar, or a conference, they will come and sit inside. If we have publications which are critiquing the government, we will get calls. So that is the general environment for NGOs across the region. The whole context of the CPD work had been to ensure an environment where we can work with the assurity that we are serving the people of our countries, and we are serving the most marginalized. But obviously the most marginalized are the most victimized, and they're generally victimized by state policy. Many of these, the people who are really, the entities who are really abusing the rights of our people are in many cases the private sector, really. So, and it could be the local private sector, for instance, the seed sector in Pakistan, or the multinational corporations. It could be the mining industries. It's a whole breadth of profit-making agencies who really want to ensure that they have easy access to our resources, to our lands, and that nobody creates any hurdles while they extract based on super profits. And so, of course, if we say things against that, if we publish things, if we just demonstrate, we are persecuted for that. So, post Busan, it's still very difficult work, and it's time-taking, it's consuming. You have to work on many levels. You have to write so that you make the general public aware of such a thing as aid accountability. And along with aid accountability are the adjunct pieces of enabling environment, of course. But then how do you go about it? Especially if you're a small organization, you don't have many people, you don't have people who can read English. So the whole issue then becomes very restricted, and we don't have access to a lot of money, to a lot of trained people, to websites. Now how can we small NGOs go and sit in the capital of our countries and try to talk to the people who are really managing aid? It just shows you the levels of barriers that we have, which we really have to overcome just to ensure some amount of credibility to our work, you know. It would be so easy if we could just do it like that, but to go from Karachi, from one city to the capital, to access these aid agencies in their countries, to get information from there, let alone our own governments. Our own governments are barricaded, so how do we approach them? How do we go up to them? There is not much that we can say for the environment as yet in terms of how do we become more productive in what we do and ensure a more even ground for people who are working with people's rights.